You are standing at the edge of the oldest forest you have ever seen. It stretches before you, in every direction, birch trees and oak, pine and black alder, rising out of the dim earth, a great breathing wall of bark and shadow. The light is leaving the sky, not dramatically, not in a blaze of color, quietly, the way a fire settles when the wind stops. The last pale gold is still caught in the highest branches, trembling there at the very tips of the trees. Everything below has already given itself to the softer, bluer hours of dusk. The air smells of wet earth and something older than rain, mushrooms and moss, resin from pines you cannot yet see. There is a coldness moving through the undergrowth, low along the ground, the forest exhaling into the open field behind you. You feel it against your ankles. You feel it rising slowly up your legs, reaching your hands, touching the back of your neck. This place has a name in the old tongue, but names here are only a way of pointing at something that was already there before the word existed. The forest is called by many things in many villages. None of those names belong to the forest itself. The forest does not need them. The forest was old before the first word for forest was spoken. It will be old long after the last word is forgotten. You stand at the edge for a moment, your breathing slow. The field behind you is open sky and dry grass, the last of the crickets singing their evening song. A bird calls once from somewhere in the long grass, a small, quick sound, a single note, then silence. The field is the world you came from, the open world, the world of roads and distances and horizons you can always see. Before you is something else entirely. The trees do not invite, they do not forbid, they simply stand, the way they have always stood, their roots deeper than memory, their patience longer than any century. They have been here long enough that welcoming and unwelcoming no longer mean anything. They simply are. You either enter or you do not. You take a breath. You feel your body settle, your shoulders drop, the tension in the back of your neck. It begins to loosen. Your jaw softens. You did not notice it was clenched. There is no hurry here. There has never been any hurry here. Whatever you were carrying, the forest does not know it. Standing at the threshold, neither do you. The field behind you holds all of that. You are not bringing it through. You step forward. The grass at the tree line is long. It catches at your feet. It bends easily under your weight. Then it gives way to the forest floor. A different kind of softness, entirely. Decades of fallen leaves have gathered here, pressed down into something almost like moss, almost like felt, almost like a surface never meant to be walked on, yet it receives your footsteps anyway, absorbs them, takes the impact, without complaint. Your footsteps are quieter now, the ground absorbs you. The first trees you pass are birches, pale and slim. Their white bark is faintly luminous. The last light catches it and holds. Each one rises straight and tall. They branch only at the very top. They have kept their thoughts to themselves for a long time, finally opening. Their bark is marked with dark horizontal lines, like letters of an alphabet you were never taught. You do not try to read them. You only notice the pattern and move on. The birch trunks are the brightest things in the forest now, pale as winter moon, pale as the memory of snow. They stand in loose clusters, 3 and 4 and 5, their roots laced together somewhere below the surface. They are sharing water and information, and something harder to name. A signal sent through the birches travels slowly through the earth, to the oaks, to the pines, to the oldest trees at the forest center. The forest is a single organism. The birches are its white edge, its outer skin. Between the birches, the ground is open. Small ferns have unfurled in the gaps. Their fronds are bright green in the last light. Each one is a perfect repeated pattern. A low plant with hand-shaped leaves spreads between the roots. It covers the ground slowly, quietly. It has been here a long time. Somewhere to your left, deeper in the trees, something moves. A flick of shape between the trunks, and then it is gone, not alarming. Something small and quick and belonging. It belongs here far more than you do. The forest is full of things that belong here. The last light has left the upper branches. You have walked a little deeper. The world has turned a deep, saturated blue. It is a color that exists only for a few minutes. On clear evenings, when the sky has given up its orange, not yet settled into black, everything is that color now. The birches are silver against it. The gaps between the trees are deep blue, like doorways into a larger world, a quieter one. The birches stand silver in the blue. The passages between them open softly. You move through them, and they receive you. You walk slowly. There is no path underfoot, not exactly, but the trees seem arranged, so there is always a way through. Never a wall of trunks too close. Always a corridor, natural and open. A gap in the undergrowth draws you forward, an opening between the birches. The forest does not present obstacles. The forest lets you through. You understand this, without thinking about it, without naming it. You are being permitted, and the word for that is welcome. You become aware of the forest's sound. It fills you gradually. It comes in layers. Something drips softly from a high branch. It lands on a wide leaf below. A trunk creaks as the evening temperature changes. The warmth leaves the wood. The tree finds its nighttime shape. Wind moves through needles, far above your head, a sound like low breathing, like the whole forest inhaling slowly around you. And under all of it, a deeper silence, the silence that the sound rests on. It was here before any sound began. It will be here when the sound ends. You feel it beneath the birdsong, beneath the dripping, beneath the creak of wood, a ground tone, a bass frequency, something below what you can hear, but you can feel it in your chest, in your feet, in the places that vibrate, slowly, with something very large. You breathe with it. Your exhale joins the air. The air moves through the birches. The birches lean, very slightly, toward each other when the wind comes. They straighten again when it passes. Everything is connected in this way. Your breath, the air, the trees, the deep ground beneath your feet. You feel this connection, not as a thought, but as a sensation. Something warm and slow moves through you, up from the soles of your feet, through your legs, through your hips, into your chest. The birches begin to give way to older trees. Oaks now, wider at the base. Their bark is deeply furrowed and dark. Their shapes aren't straight. They are reaching. Branch by branch, they reach toward whatever sky they can find. The canopy above holds most of it back, but they reach anyway. These trees are old. Not old the way a 100-year house is old. Not old the way your grandparents are old. Old in a different register entirely. The oldness of things that survived by being too stubborn to move, too deep-rooted, too settled in the dark earth beneath them. You can feel their age. The way you feel cold coming off a river before you see the water. Something about the air changes around old trees. It becomes heavier, more attentive. One oak, wider than your arms could reach around, has a hollow in its base, just large enough to shelter in. The opening is dark. The edges of the bark have curved over it smoothly, the way wood does when it has shaped itself around an opening over a very long time. Not a wound, not damage, an accommodation, a space the tree has made within itself. You do not go inside. You simply look as you pass, and you feel something, a faint recognition, the kind that comes from certain dreams, the recognition of a place you have never been. And yet it feels, somehow, like somewhere you have always known existed. You walk on. The forest deepens around you. The oaks are thicker now. Their canopy joins overhead. It forms a ceiling of sorts, more sky than not, gaps of dark blue, visible between the branches. The first stars are there, in those gaps, if you look up, which you do. You smell the smoke before you see the light. It drifts through the trees, from somewhere ahead, not sharp, not urgent, soft and rounded. Wood smoke. It has been burning for hours. It has settled into its own rhythm. Birch smoke, you think. There is something in the sweetness of it. That particular clean smell of birch bark and white birch wood. It releases its stored summer light. Somewhere ahead, a fire has become easy. A clearing opens between the trees. There is light there, orange and warm. It moves with the small movements of a settled fire. A comfortable fire, not large, not dramatic, set in a circle of flat stones, on bare earth. The logs are arranged with air between them. Someone who knows about fire arranged this, not for show, for the right burn, the slow and lasting burn. The flames lean slightly to one side, then they straighten again. The light moves with them. It illuminates the nearest trees, warm orange on one side. The other side stays in shadow. You step into the clearing. The grass here is different, short and soft. It is more like meadow grass, more like a quiet field than a forest floor. This circle of open ground has its own relationship with light. The surrounding trees do not share it. The soil is darker here, richer. Around the clearing, the trees stand in a loose ring. Their lower branches begin above head height. The fire's light catches their undersides in gold. The upper canopy is lost in darkness. There is no one else here. But the fire was made by someone, or something. It is well made and well tended. You understand without being told. It was prepared for you. In every old Slavic farmhouse, in every village that kept the old ways, there was a hearth. At the hearth there lived a spirit, not quite a person, not quite a force of nature, something in between, something domestic and ancient, deeply concerned with warmth. The Domovoi, the little master of the household, the guardian of the fire, the protector who lives behind the stove. He keeps watch when the family sleeps. In the old stories, the Domovoi sometimes walks out of the house. He goes into the wider world, not often, but in deep forest, in old places, in the spaces between the human world and the spirit world. His warmth sometimes reaches beyond any walls. The fire in this clearing is one of those extensions, a hearth without a house, a welcome without a home, the spirit of domestic safety made available to a traveler who needs it. You sit down near the fire. The heat reaches you slowly, first at your hands. You extend them toward the flames. The gesture feels natural, like lifting your face towards sun. Then at your face, the warmth spreading upward, from your jaw to your cheeks, from your cheeks to your temples, across your forehead. The cold in your feet begins to ease. The blood moves more freely now. Warmth reaches all the way down, into your toes. The fire makes a sound like paper, or like breath, a soft, irregular crackling, somehow restful. The way rain on a roof is restful. The way a sound of something being tended is always restful. The logs shift once, settling deeper into the coals. A brief fountain of sparks lifts and spins upward, into the dark air above the clearing. You watch them rise, each spark a small burning thing, complete, brief. You watch them cool and go dark before they reach the canopy. You watch them simply cease to be, each one in its own moment, quietly. The sky above the clearing is deep blue. It is beginning to go dark. One star is visible, the first one, the one that earns its place before all the others, still and bright, above the easternmost trees. Two more have appeared. By the time you look back, the stars are coming on slowly. The way the cold comes on slowly, the way the forest's quiet comes on slowly, not all at once, but one small thing at a time. Each addition to the darkness, barely different from the last, until you look up, and there are so many, you cannot count them. Your body is heavier now. The warmth has reached your shoulders, your back. You can feel the fatigue you've been carrying. It is beginning to separate from you. The way you feel a weight begin to lift before it actually lifts, a loosening, a change in how things sit against you. A first easing, that is the promise of full release. The Domovoi asks nothing of you, nothing at all. No obligation follows this fire. No debt comes from accepting its warmth. The Domovoi asks only one thing, that you be warm, that you rest, that you let the fire do what fire does, burn and warm, and make the darkness less complete. You let it. The trees around the clearing are still. The clearing is an island of warmth, cool forest on all sides, and this warm circle here. You sit with the fire. You don't think about how far you've come. You don't think about how far remains. There is no distance here. There is only the fire. The earth beneath you, the circle of trees, watching from their patient distance, and the small bright spirit of domestic warmth, keeping this hearth going. Here, in the heart of the oldest forest, you drift and breathe. When you rise from the fire, your body feels different, slower, more deliberate. Each movement has been granted a little more time. The haste that lives in you during ordinary hours is gone. That background hum of urgency, that perpetual slight lean into the next moment, all of it is gone. You stand. The standing takes however long it takes. That is perfectly right. You walk toward the far edge of the clearing. The trees begin again there. You pass from the fire's circle of light into the cooler darkness between the oaks. The fire's warmth stays with you as you go. It doesn't fade quickly. It fades slowly. The way warmth stored in stone releases through the night. The heat absorbed into your body radiates back outward at exactly the pace you need. You stay comfortable as the forest air cools around you. The oaks here are older than the ones at the forest's edge, older than the oldest ones you passed before the clearing. Their roots have lifted the soil in long ridges around their bases. In the gaps between the ridges, the ground is dark and soft. You step carefully between the roots. Your feet find the right places, naturally, as if the ground itself is guiding you. You feel the forest floor through the soles of your feet, the give of it, the density of what lies underneath, the 1,000 years of accumulated life that has become soil. The canopy above has thickened. The last traces of sky between the branches are the darkest blue now, almost black. Stars are beginning to appear in the gaps between the leaves. The light from those stars, thin, quiet, reaching you after a journey of years and years, filters down through the canopy. It rests on the tops of the ferns below. The ferns glow slightly in that light. Their fronds are pale silver on their upper surfaces, deep shadow on their undersides. The air is cooler. You are deep in the Leshy's domain now. You have known this for some time, actually, since before the clearing, if you're honest. There is a quality to this forest, something difficult to name. Not danger, not the feeling of being watched in an unwelcoming way, more like an awareness, the awareness that you are present in a space that belongs to something larger than you, and that something larger is aware of you. It has been aware of you since you first stepped between the birches, since the very first step at the forest's edge. This is the quality of being seen without being harmed, of being known without being judged, of existing in someone else's home, and being neither welcomed nor turned away, simply permitted which is, in its way, the most honest hospitality. The Leshy is the lord of this forest, ancient, patient. He belongs to these woods the way the roots belong to the oaks, inseparable, holding everything in place. He doesn't harm travelers who move respectfully. He doesn't mislead those who don't take more than they're given. He doesn't like loud voices. He doesn't like cutting more wood than you need. He doesn't like treating the forest as only an obstacle. But a quiet traveler passes through undisturbed, a respectful one, undisturbed. One who moves through the trees as though the trees have feelings. That traveler passes through his domain, undisturbed. You are not disturbing anything. You are only walking. The oaks give way. You step into a second clearing. This one is not like the first. It is much larger. The trees around it stand farther back, as if they have arranged themselves with intention, a formal circle. They have left this space untouched, and in the center of that space there is a tree. You see it before you understand what you are looking at. It is an oak, but the word oak does not come close. The trunk is wider than any tree you have ever seen, wider than anything that seems possible in a living thing. The bark is so deeply furrowed, it has formed its own topography, ridges and valleys, overhanging shelves, ancient beyond color, not brown, not gray, not black, all of those things at once, a surface that has cycled through seasons for so long, it stopped keeping track. You look at it, and something in you goes quiet. The roots extend outward in every direction. They lift and lower the ground as they go. Some of them are as wide as fallen logs. They submerge into the earth. They have heaved the soil into ridges and depressions. The base of this tree has the character of a landscape, its own hills, its own valleys, its own shadows and openings. The lowest branches begin very high, high enough to clear a tall building. From there, the tree spreads outward, upward, first horizontal, then curving gently toward the sky, then branching again and again and again, until the outermost twigs are so fine, so numerous, they form a kind of haze, not individual shapes, a haze against the sky. The moon has risen while you are walking. You notice this now, a full moon just above the eastern tree line, cold and bright and very large. Its light falls directly on this tree. The bark gleams silver at its highest points. The leaves, so far above, hold the moonlight and release it slowly. Each leaf a small mirror, the whole canopy a slow turning lantern. Everything below is in the oak's shadow, not dark, but graduated. The light filters through in thin columns, the branches thin enough to let it through. The light moves when the highest branches move. So the light on the clearing floor is not still. It is alive, not fixed, always shifting, a pattern of light and shadow that never repeats, never, not once, repeating. You stand at the edge of the clearing. You feel something, something with no clean name. Awe, partly, but a very old kind of awe, not from spectacle, from scale, from the clear encounter with something so much larger, so much longer lived, so much more thoroughly itself. All your usual frameworks simply fall away. The sensation settles over you, quietly. You are in the presence of something that was here before you were born. It will be here when you are gone. It does not count either of those facts against you. The tree does not know your beginning. It does not know your end. The tree is simply here, as it has always been, as it will always be. This is the world tree, the Mirovoe Derevo, the axis around which the world was understood to turn, the great pillar of existence, the one that holds the three realms in their right relationship. Its roots reach into the realm below, the realm of the ancestors, the deep dark, the place called Nav. Its trunk stands in the world of the living, this world, Yav, the world of breath and warmth, of fire, the sound of crickets, the smell of rain, and its highest branches rise into Prav, the realm of divine order, where the stars are arranged according to a logic older than language. The principles that hold the cosmos together make themselves visible as light. You are standing where all three worlds touch. You walk slowly toward it. The moonlight enters the clearing in long shafts. It illuminates small patches of ground in silver, a piece of moss, the curve of a root, the head of a pale mushroom. Your own hands, held slightly out from your sides. You move the way you move in water, with care, with the weight of each step noticed. You want to do it gently. The closer you come to the world tree, the quieter everything becomes. Not quieter in the absence of sound. There is still the wind, high in the branches, still the distant creak of the forest, still the soft call of something nocturnal at the clearing's edge, but quieter in the way you yourself become quiet. The small voice that narrates, that worries, that plans, begins to slow. Between each thought, there is a little more space, and in that space, something else. Not more thoughts, something that doesn't need words, something that doesn't arrive in language. Simply present, the way moonlight is present, undeniable, belonging to a place below speech. You stop a few feet from the base of the tree. You simply stand. The bark is right in front of you, close enough to touch. You reach out and rest your palm against it. It is cool, deeply textured. The ridges press back against your hand. The solidness of it is absolute, not the solidity of stone, which is inert, but the solidity of something committed entirely to being what it is, for as long as it has existed, without wavering. Beneath your hand, the bark doesn't give, doesn't warm quickly to your touch, doesn't yield. Your eyes close. Under your hand, you feel nothing, no movement, no pulse, but the stillness has a quality. It isn't absence. The tree is full of something. Sap moves in its interior, slowly, much more slowly than blood. A column of water spans the entire tree from root to leaf, drawn upward by the forces of physics, which are also forces of life, which are also, in some way, forces of choice. In whatever sense a tree can be said to choose, thousands of exchanges are happening under your hand, cellular, chemical, electrical, none of it fast enough to feel, but all of it is happening, all of it continuous. The tree lives in its own time, a time so much slower and larger than yours. You stay there, with your eyes closed, a long moment, just you and the tree and the quiet. The wind moves through the canopy above. The leaves make a sound like the sea, the exact sound the tide makes, neither fully coming in nor going out. The sound of water simply moving, simply being water, filling all the space available to it, and no more. You open your eyes. Something is at the far edge of the clearing, not threatening, not moving toward you, simply present, the way the trees are present, a shape that is part of the clearing's shadows, part of the clearing's air. It resolves and unresolves when you look directly at it. Large, you think, larger than anything you've seen standing in a forest, old, wearing the forest the way you wear a cloak, lightly, easily, as something that belongs to you, and that you belong to in return, something you put on so long ago, you no longer remember the putting on, the Leshy. He is watching you, not the way a person watches, not with curiosity, or judgment, or need, the way the forest itself watches, with a long, comprehensive patience. It doesn't require anything of what it watches. It will continue, whether the watched thing stays or goes. You're in his forest. He knows you're here. He knew you were here before you stepped between the first birches. The fire in the first clearing was not a coincidence. The path through the trees was not a coincidence. The way the ground always offered you a way forward, not a coincidence. He's been present the whole time, tending his forest, tending its visitors, and now you're still enough to notice. You feel no fear. There's a phrase the old people used, spoken when they entered old-growth forests. A quiet acknowledgement, spoken to no one in particular, or rather, spoken to the air of the forest itself, which is the same thing. A recognition that the forest has its own sovereign, that you are a visitor in someone else's home. You don't know the phrase, not the exact words in the old tongue, but you know the spirit of it, and you offer it now without words. A breath, a lowering of the eyes, the slight softening of your posture. I am not claiming anything here. I am only passing through. I am only resting. I am grateful for what I have been permitted. The shape at the edge of the clearing does not move, but something changes. A shift in the quality of the air, a deepening of the quiet, as though the quiet has taken on additional dimensions, as though there is more room in it now than there was before. You feel, very clearly, that you are welcome here, not invited to stay forever, not made permanent in this place, but welcome, the way any respectful traveler is welcome, at a fire made for wanderers. The door is not closed. The hearth is warm. The house will hold you for the night. You lower yourself to sit at the base of the world tree. The root rising behind you is wide enough to be a backrest. You lean against it, feeling its solidity. The moss grows along its upper surface. It is dry and surprisingly soft under your hands. Years have compressed it into something almost like cloth. You settle your weight against the root. You feel the tree behind you and below you and above you, all three at once. The roots go down into the dark. The trunk rises against your back. The canopy spreads overhead in the night. The clearing is very quiet now. Somewhere in the middle distance, you can hear water. It is through the trees, down a slight slope. You sense it more than see it. The ground leads that way, gently. The stream moves over stones. It is steady and low. This is water that has been flowing for a very long time. It has worn the stones smooth. It has found its exact path. It holds to that path now, without effort. The sound is too constant, too comfortable to be new. This stream has been here longer than any person now living. You listen. The sound of water over stones is one of the most ancient sounds in the world. It is older than any music, older than any voice. It is what the world sounded like before sound was recognized as such, before there was anything present to recognize it. You listen to it now. You feel something in your body, a loosening at the base of your spine, a softening through your hips, a releasing that moves upward, slowly, through your whole back. The sound of the water is doing the releasing. It pulls the tension out of you. The way a current pulls sediment, gradually and without interruption. Your hands rest softly in your lap. Somewhere downstream, water passes through alders. Their branches hang low over the surface. Moonlight reaches the stream in small bright coins. It comes through gaps in the canopy, quiet coins of light on moving water, and there are voices. Not speaking, not singing, exactly. More like the boundary between voice and water. The sound that happens when wind passes over a stream at a particular angle, and the stream answers back. It is the sound that water makes when something is listening to it, rising and falling in a pattern, almost melody, almost language, something that sounds like it is reaching toward meaning, without quite arriving, staying there on the threshold, finding that threshold sufficient. Rusalki. the water spirits of the old Slavic world, the voices of the stream, made personal, given form by the imagination of people who lived near the water. They listened long enough to hear something in it, something that wanted to be heard. They are not frightening in this season, not frightening in this night hour. The forest is warm around them. The water is high and full. Their voices reach you across the clearing, across the trees, across the dark ground between you and the stream. You hear something in them, simply the sound of water, delighted with itself, delighted with the way it moves, delighted with the particular arrangement of stones, delighted with the alder roots it brushes on its way past, delighted with the cold of the ground it comes from, and the warmth of the night air above it. The voices rise for a moment, 3 or 4 of them at once, each one following a different current, each one a slightly different pitch, a slightly different rhythm, weaving together into something, not music, but what music was trying to reach before music existed. Then they fade, the way water always fades when you move away from it, diminishing gradually, until what you hear is mostly the memory of the sound. Then even the memory thins. What remains is only the steady voice of the stream itself. It has never stopped. It doesn't need the Rusalki to speak for it. It speaks perfectly well for itself. The night closes back in. The stream is still there. You can hear it at the very edge of perception, a low and constant thread of sound. Your ears rest on it without having to chase, but the voices have folded back into the water. The water has folded back into the sound of the forest. The forest has folded back into the deep quiet, the quiet beneath all sound. Your eyes are heavy. You feel the roots beneath you, not just the one tree, all of them. The web of roots spreads outward in every direction. Some are visible above the ground, some are buried just below it, some reach only a few feet, then descend steeply. Some travel much farther, moving through the soil for distances you cannot imagine. The roots of a tree this old reach far, farther than the tree's shadow, farther than anyone would guess, from above. They have found every vein of water here. They have touched every stone. Over centuries, they have shaped the soil around them, changing the chemistry of the earth, creating the conditions for all of this. The other trees, the mushrooms, the ferns, the whole quiet world of this forest. Below you, the roots go down. The realm of Nav is down there. Realm is too grand a word. Nav is not a kingdom. It is not a country. It is not an afterlife in the usual way. Nav is what the earth holds, the deep quiet of things that have come before, things that have returned to the root dark. The ancestors are down there, not as what they once were, not as individuals with names and histories, but as what they have become, part of the soil, part of the darkness, not empty, but full of everything that came before and gave itself back. You feel this as a weight beneath you, not the weight of burden, the weight of support. The deep earth is holding you up. It has always been holding you up. Everything that came before you is under your feet. This is not a haunting. This is not something to carry. It is a foundation. You are built on something that has been building for a very long time. Your breath slows. Each exhale carries a little more away. The weight of the day moving downward through your body into the earth below, where it is received quietly, without comment, without drama, where it simply joins everything else that has returned to the root dark over the long history of this forest. Your hands rest heavy in your lap. You drift and breathe, and the dark holds you gently. You look up. Above you, the lowest branches open. Through twig and leaf and wood, the canopy parts. It shows you the sky. It is fully dark now, the deep, saturated black of cloudless nights, no light nearby to soften it, and there are stars, more than you can count, more than you usually allow yourself to see. You are usually somewhere with lights, usually with walls, usually with a ceiling. Here, there is no ceiling. The sky is open, all the way up. The stars are the same stars. They were here before the first village was built, in any forest, on this continent. The same stars the first human beings looked up at. They tried to understand them. They gave them names. They grouped them into patterns, used them to navigate, used them to tell the seasons. Sailors used them, farmers used them, hunters and dreamers used them. They have been here the whole time. They have not changed. What changes is only whether you look. Prav is up there. It is the third of the three worlds, the highest realm the world tree connects. Prav is not a paradise, not a reward for the righteous. It is something harder to describe than that, also simpler. It is the principle of rightness, the idea that there is an order to things, a logic to the arrangement of the world, a structure that holds, even when particular things within it break, even when they end. The stars are part of it. The way the seasons follow each other, always in the same order, that is part of it. The way the roots of the world tree find water, without being told, that is part of it. The way a stream always finds the sea, that is part of it. You don't need to understand it. You are made of it. In the starlight, if you look long enough at the place where stars cluster most thickly, you begin to see patterns. The great river of light spans the sky. From horizon to horizon, on clear nights, you see something else. Not constellations exactly, not only constellations, something more. Something moves, very slowly, almost too slowly to track. You watch a candle flame, you see it moving, then you look away, you look back. You can't say what changed, but you know something has. You can feel it. In the starlight, in that slow movement, there is the sense of threads, something being woven. Something has been woven for a very long time. It will be woven for a very long time still. It does not hurry. It does not pause. It continues at exactly the pace it always has. There is no reason to change. These are the Rozhanitsy, the fate weavers. They work in starlight. In the highest reaches of Prav, they weave threads of what will come, from threads of what was. They wove before you were born. They were weaving the night you were born. They will weave after you are gone. Your thread is among the ones they hold, a thread that does not know it is a thread. It has always been part of the weaving. Without knowing it, it will continue to be part of the weaving, regardless of whether it ever knows. It is already woven. The Rozhanitsy do not need your awareness. The weaving does not require your understanding. It only requires what it has always had: the starlight, the loom, the patience of something that works in centuries. You hold this knowledge lightly. You let it rest in you, the way starlight rests on water, present, not heavy, illuminating without disturbing, touching everything, changing nothing, because what it touches was already exactly what it is. Your eyes drift closed. You are still. You are here. You drift. The fire at the clearing behind you has settled. You cannot see it from here. It's behind the curve of the world tree's base. Roots and distance and dark block your view. But you can feel it, the faint warmth still reaching through the trees. The smell of birch smoke drifts in the air. It moves with the night breeze. It finds you at intervals, then moves past. A memory of orange light rests on your eyelids when they close. The embers are deep red now. The logs have burned down to their cores. down to the heartwood, down to the oldest, densest part of the tree. That part lived before this fire. Those cores will hold heat through the night. The Domovoi is still there. It's in that warmth. It's in the slow release of heat from glowing wood. Content, not requiring anything of the night, not keeping watch, not performing any labor, simply being warm in the way that is the Domovoi's nature, providing warmth in the way that is the Domovoi's purpose. A small domestic peace rests in the heart of the old forest. It holds the thread of human safety. It holds it through the hours when the forest is most itself. And somewhere at the edge of this clearing, the larger clearing, the clearing of the world tree, you feel the Leshy settle. This is not movement, you see. It is a change in the quality of the air, a deepening, a shift, as though something very large and very old has finally come fully to rest. After a long evening of subtle activity, not sleep, the Leshy does not sleep, but a settling into his nighttime form, a returning to the place from which the forest is watched. The forest breathes, the Leshy breathes with it, and as he settles, the forest itself settles. The small adjustments of branch and root, the small corrections, all of it slows, slightly, deepens, comes to its nighttime rhythm. The balance is maintained. It goes on, quietly, continuously, as it always does, in any living thing. The forest is finding its night. The owls are awake in the canopy. One calls from the stream's direction, a low, resonant sound. It carries far in the night air. It passes through the trees with ease. It reaches you at the world tree's base. It arrives clear and close, as if the owl called directly overhead, then silence, then the call again, from a slightly different direction, closer. You understand it's not the same owl. A second one is answering. The night insects have begun their quiet orchestra, not the crickets of the open field. Those are behind you now, far back at the forest's edge. These are different, smaller, the insects of the deep forest. Each one produces its particular sound. Together they produce something that isn't music, but it fills the same space music fills. It serves the same purpose, the sound of being alive. Something small and shy moves between the roots, a few feet away. A mouse, you think, or a small vole. You hear it more than you see it. The soft rustle of leaves, the tiny percussion of something very light. It moves over the dry ground cover. It comes within arm's reach of you, then it stops. You can feel its aliveness, the rapid heartbeat, the quick, warm breath, the bright attention of a creature living much faster than you. And then it moves on. It disappears into the roots. You breathe. The night continues. Everything continues. Everything is tended. Your body is very heavy. Not an unpleasant heaviness. The heaviness of full rest. The heaviness of muscles, given permission to stop holding you upright, to simply be weight and warmth and breath. Your hands are loose. Your jaw is soft. The muscles around your eyes have let go completely. You didn't know they were tense. Your back is held by the root is held by the tree is held by the earth. You are being held at every level, all of them reliable, all of them asking nothing in return. The stars above the clearing are very bright. You look at them for a moment more. The whole arrangement, the patterns in the light, the slow weaving of the Rozhanitsy in Prav above you, the roots of the world tree reaching into Nav below. You are aware of being in the middle, in Yav, in the world of the living, the world of breath, the world that sits between the deep dark and the high light. It holds both in balance. Fire is warm here, water runs here, the Leshy walks his domain at the end of each day. Everything is tended in its right way. This is where you are, right here, between worlds, in the oldest forest, with the fire cooling to embers behind you. the stars turning slowly overhead, the roots of the world tree, holding the whole structure steady. This is where you are. You close your eyes. The sound of the stream reaches you. It is distant now, and steady. The voices of the water, folded back into water, indistinguishable from current over stone. You hear it, and you don't pursue it. You let it be what it is, sound at the edge of hearing. Water doing what water does, the living world continuing its task, at exactly the pace it has always kept. The wind moves through the upper canopy. The leaves make their long, slow sound, almost like the sea, almost like breathing, almost like both at once, each gust, and then the long subsiding after, the branches slowly stilling, and then another gust from a different direction. The sound sweeps through the highest oaks and pines, like something large and invisible passing through, touching the forest briefly, and then moving on. You breathe with it, your inhale and the wind's inhale, your exhale and the long settling after, in and out, the forest in, the forest out. You are part of something very large, something with no border you can find, the exchange of breath between living things, the movement of air across an entire forest surface, every leaf on every branch, a small lung, doing its patient work, every tree, a participant in the breathing, keeping the sky full of what it needs. You are part of this. You have always been part of this. The Leshy is very close now, not threatening. The instinct may be to tighten at that word, close, when it refers to something so large and so old. But there is no need. He is close the way the tree is close, the way the earth is close, because you are in his forest. This is where he lives. In this night hour, his presence fills the air of the clearing, the way warmth fills a room after the fire has burned long enough. You are not in danger. You are in the presence of something, something that has decided to be present. You feel him in the quality of the dark. The darkness here doesn't feel like an absence. It feels like a presence, like something that has a texture, a weight, a temperature, slightly warmer than you'd expect. This is old darkness, darkness that has been here a long time, that has had things living in it and through it. The lives of those things have gathered in the air, in the ground, in the quality of what you feel against your skin. He doesn't ask anything of you. The forest doesn't ask anything of you. You are held here without requirement, without expectation, without the need to produce or justify or explain. The world tree doesn't know your name. The Leshy doesn't know your name. The roots below don't keep a record of you. And this, which might feel like loneliness, is instead something else, the most complete belonging, the most easeful belonging. You have felt it perhaps once before, long ago, to be held by something that doesn't need you to be other than you are. To be in a place with no opinion about your history, no opinion about your future. To rest, simply, in the oldest forest, between the world below and the world above, in the world of the living, breathing and breathing and breathing. Your thoughts are very slow now. They arrive one at a time, each one with room around it, like footsteps on soft ground, and then the spacing grows longer, then longer still, until what you have is not a thought, only the awareness that you are here. You don't need a thought for this to be true. You are here. This is the simplest fact. You are here, and you are held. The night is around you. The roots are below. The stars are above. The Leshy is present. The Domovoi's fire is warm at the clearing's edge. The stream is singing to itself, singing in the alder grove. The Rozhanitsy are weaving in the starlight, all of it happening at once, all of it continuous, all of it exactly right. The fire has gone to embers behind you. The embers are warm and quiet. They'll warm the clearing for hours yet, even without any flame. Everything is tended. No worry here, no cold, nothing left to do. The forest takes care of its own. The stream moves, the stars turn, the roots hold. Above you, in darkness so far away, the light left long ago, before anyone you knew was alive. The Rozhanitsy work their slow weaving. Your thread moves where it needs to move. You don't need to understand this. You don't need to guide it. It's happening. It's always been happening. You're always already in the weave. You exhale. The world tree breathes under your back. Not breath like yours. No lungs. No rhythm you could count. But water moves from root to leaf, leaf to sky, sky to rain, rain to root. This is a kind of breathing, the longest breath in the world. You are leaning against it. You feel it in your back, not as movement, but as continuity. The sense that what you lean against is alive, alive in the deepest way, not conscious of you, not needing anything from you, simply alive. This is enough. This has always been enough. Your body is fully released now. Your weight is in the earth. Your breath is in the air. Your thoughts have arrived at a very slow place. From that slow place, it is only one more step, one last, easeful step, into the deep quiet where sleep begins, not a falling, not a surrender, a settling, the way the embers settle, the way the Leshy settles, the way the great old forest settles into its nighttime self, still alive, still breathing, still tended, but given over to the longer rhythms, the slower movements, the vast, unhurried work, done in the hours when the world rests. You drift and breathe and settle. The dark is kind. You are held between worlds. Nav is below you. The ancestors, the roots, the deep, quiet dark. It is full, not empty. It holds everything that came before. Above you, Prav, the stars in their arrangement, the Rozhanitsy and their weaving, the principle that holds all things in place. And here, in the middle, here in Yav, you, breathing, the world tree is at your back. The Domovoi's fire embers glow warm, somewhere through the trees. The Leshy is present in the air all around you, between worlds, in the oldest forest, in the safest place you can be. Your eyes don't need to open. The night will tend itself. The forest will tend itself. Everything is held. Everything is kept. Everything continues in its right time and right order. Everything is watched over by what has always watched over it. You're not needed to make any of it happen. You're only needed to be here, and you are here, completely here. Your body is heavy and warm and sinking slowly toward the dream. The stream sings to itself far down the slope. The wind passes through the world tree's crown. The sound it makes is everything and nothing. You breathe. In, out. The forest breathes with you, or you breathe with the forest. There is no difference now. The boundary between you and the air is very soft. The boundary between you and the earth is very soft. The boundary between where you end and where the roots begin, very soft. You're not dissolving. You're becoming continuous with what you've always been continuous with. The membrane between self and world grows thin, delicate. It might as well not be there. You are sinking, not through anything, into everything, into the warmth of the embers and the cold of the deep earth, into the starlight above and the root dark below, into the sound of the stream and the sound of the wind, into the sound of your own breath. It has slowed to something so quiet you can barely hear it. That's exactly right. That's the right depth for this night, this forest, this place between worlds. The Leshy breathes beside you, ancient, patient, asking nothing. The forest holds you. The world tree holds you, the night holds you, and you are held. Sleep. You are between the worlds now. You are in the oldest forest. The roots of the world tree drink deep. They drink from the dark of Nav. The branches touch the highlight of Prav. The trunk stands solid. It breathes. It stands in Yav, in this world, the world where you are. The world of the living, the world of the warm fire, the world of the cold stream, the old oaks, the birches, pale as moonlight. At the forest's edge, where you first stepped in, you are here, you are resting. The Rozhanitsy weave their threads in starlight. Above you, now, your thread among the rest, neither more nor less, just what it is, doing exactly what it does, in its place, in the weaving. The ancestors are quiet, patient, deep in the root dark below. Their long patience rises, up through the roots, into the trunk, into the air of the forest, into the slow warmth of the night. The Leshy watches over his forest, gently, with great care. It does not need your wakefulness. It continues on its own. The fire is embers. The embers are warmth. The warmth is enough. You breathe once more, slow, full, complete, and on the exhale, you let go. Everything you have been carrying, every last thing, pressed gently into the earth below, where it is received, where it joins the long, deep dark, where it rests, you rest. The forest breathes, the stars turn, the roots hold, and you sleep. Deep in the forest between worlds, you are sleeping now. The world tree stands above you. Its crown is lost in the dark canopy. Its roots reach far below, into places you will never go, but they are there, deep and dark and full, full of everything that came before. The stream moves in the distance, tireless. It finds its way around every stone. It fills every silence, at the edge of hearing. Water that has been moving longer than memory. The embers in the clearing pulse once, twice, with the slowness of a deep heartbeat, an ancient heartbeat. The warmth they release is the Domovoi's warmth, the spirit of the hearth, who tends every fire. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to hold anything. Everything is held for you. The Leshy paces his forest, slow, vast, patient. He has been here since before the first seed fell. He knows every tree, their names, in the language older than names, their ages, their histories, the animals sheltered in their hollows, the birds nested in their branches, the fungi threaded through their roots. He knows every fox in every den, every owl on every branch, every mushroom threading white below. He knows you are here. His knowing is not a burden, it is a protection, a presence, the fact of being known in a place that asks nothing of the knowing. The night will last as long as the night lasts. The forest will keep its watch. The stars turn, slowly, above the world tree's crown. In their turning, the Rozhanitsy will work. In their working, your thread will move where it needs to. None of this requires your wakefulness. And in the morning, if morning comes, you will wake in the world of the living. Cold dew on the grass, birches pale in the early light, birds beginning, high in the upper branches, the stream still audible, somewhere in the distance, the memory of this forest resting inside you, this night, these roots, this fire, like a stone at the bottom of a clear stream. always there, always cool, always solid beneath the flowing water, whether you remember to look or not. But that is morning. For now, there is only this. The dark. The quiet. The deep. Sleep well. The forest is keeping watch.